Um, and then welcome to Family Literacy Open Discussion. Your presenter today is Jamie Trujillo. My name is Emily Gleekus, and I'll be moderating. If you have any questions as Jamie's presenting, feel free to type them in the chat box on the right. Later in the session, we'll have a discussion piece, and so if you'd like to jump on with us and share some of your experiences with family literacy or what your program is doing, you'll click on the Ask to Share Audio and Video up above where all the stream screens are. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic over to Jamie.
Thank you so much, Emily, for that introduction. I really appreciate it. So, as Emily mentioned, my name is Jamie Trujillo. I am a senior training consultant for the Distance Learning Support Team, formerly known as NMDELT. So if you've heard that name, that's who we are. We're just under a different name. So today I want to talk to you about family literacy with regard to adult education. So it's not something that many of us really think about, but it is an important component to adult education. So I'm going to define family literacy with regard to the Adult Education and Family Literacy Act. So the actual legislation that really defines what adult education is. We're going to talk about why family literacy is so important to adult education and why it is an integral piece to what we are offering to our students. Hopefully, you know, either Hank, if you're willing to share, or if we get more participants on here, what I want to do is open it up to have participants share what they are doing in their own programs with family literacy, if anything at all. And then I want to offer up an option that I actually offer to every program for family literacy activities. So first, let's just talk about what is family literacy. Just give you a little background here. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act of 2014 is an update to the Workforce Investment Act of 1998. And what they did when they changed from WIA to WIOA is they expanded the scope of adult education and workforce activities to combine them. They purposefully wanted adult education and workforce development playing in, quote unquote, the same sandbox. We like to use that term. You can see here on the screen, there's several different sections of the Act, but I'm really wanting to focus on Title II, which is adult education and literacy. Title I, of course, being workforce development. Title III being Wagner-Peiser. Title IV being the Rehabilitation Act. And then, of course, the general provisions. But again, we're just focusing on Title II, which is adult education and literacy. So this act defines adult education as academic instruction or other education services below the post-secondary level. So even though in New Mexico, we are part of the New Mexico Higher Education Department, the Adult Education Division is its own division within that department. So it oversees the adult education programs throughout the state. Not all states have adult education listed with higher ed. Usually it's with public ed or K through 12. That's not the case here though. But regardless, we are focusing on adult education at the pre-college or post-secondary training level that allows individuals to better read, write, speak English, and perform the math necessary to get that high school equivalency credential. That's what we call it in New Mexico, or HSE. We're also providing services that will help adults transition to post-secondary education and training, employment, or both. So, of course, the end goal is career pathways, but all of those educational and transition services are encompassed in adult education. It targets individuals who are at least 16 and not enrolled or required to be enrolled in secondary school. Now, it's important to note that they say under state law. Now, in New Mexico, and you probably know this, there is a form. It's a waiver form that the parents have to get signed for 16 and 17-year-olds, either by the school district, or if it's an independent or private school or charter school, the school themselves can sign it, but it it formally withdraws the student from secondary education and gives us legal permission to serve that student. So as long as the student has that underage waiver, we can serve them and we can get them to where they can pass the GED or high set. And so the people who qualify for our services do lack basic skills or don't have the skills and education necessary to achieve a secondary school diploma, or maybe they did get a secondary school diploma in a different country and they are here and wanting to build their English language skills. Those are also considered adult education students, even if they do have a high school diploma from a different country. Now, family literacy programs are part of that. That's part of that whole continuum of education. So family literacy integrates literacy activities between parent and child. It also involves parenting classes or training for parents on how to provide the best parenting possible to their own children. There's also literacy training that leads to economic self-sufficiency. Now, if you think about that, literacy programs in the state fulfill that purpose, because someone who cannot read, it's very difficult for that person to be economically self-sufficient. So those literacy programs help bridge that gap. So that counts there. There's also age-appropriate education to prepare children for success in school and life experiences. So there's a wide range of activities there. And really, the essence of family literacy is that parents are supported as the first teachers of their children. Parents are that first go-to for all children from birth until they start formal schooling. So the idea is that these family literacy classes will help prepare parents to be that first support for their children. Whoops, I don't know what happened there. My apologies. Let's see. Let me go back to my presentation. There we go. So programs will work with individuals and the entire family unit, and family literacy programs also provide developmental experiences for young children, and the parents are offered instruction in parenting skills, like I said, parental support to change patterns of family interaction. If there is a history of domestic violence or abuse, these family literacy programs can, not always, but they can help to change those parenting patterns. Some programs focus on literacy skills for parents, and they extend that to pre-employment and other employment skills. So there is just a wide range, state to state, community to community, of family literacy programs that can be available for adults. So who participates in these programs? Of course, the children. It could be single parents or both parents. It could be another close family member, like a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or an older sibling. It just depends on the family dynamic. And in most programs, the term parent refers to anyone fulfilling the responsibilities usually associated with a parent-child relationship over a sustained amount of time. So family literacy programs are oftentimes found as an integral part of larger adult education programs. They're not just kind of like an added bonus, they're part of that. There's a lot of programs that just integrate the family literacy into their regular ed classes. So why family literacy? We are already so inundated, so just given a lot of work to do when we're trying to prepare students for their high school equivalency test. Getting them ready to take the GED or high set is already a huge undertaking. So why is it important to have family literacy programs in your program? Well, there is research for that. There's research that says that children's motivation to succeed in school is influenced by the educational achievement of their parents. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone that's listening. This is very true. The more educated and more invested in education the parent is, the more invested in education the child will be. Now, cognitive science research stresses the impact of the family and social environment on cognitive development and literacy acquisition of children. Parental involvement in their children's schools influences student achievement, attendance, motivation, self-concept, and behavior. And again, that probably doesn't come as any surprise. If you think back to your childhood, if you had a parent who was very involved in field trips and school parties and other school functions, if you had a parent or two parents or any other family members that attended your school functions like plays or concerts or games, if you were an athlete, that influenced how you saw education. The more that they invested, the more that you wanted to invest. So it's not just about having quote unquote smarter parents. It's about parents who have that investment and show that investment in education. Parents who read to their children or have books in the home, they have a more positive attitude. The kids have a more positive attitude towards school and they tend to have or to be higher achievers than other children. And on the flip side, adults who have not mastered basic skills can't model appropriate literacy behavior for their children, and they can also pass on negative attitudes toward education onto their children. If you've ever seen a parent who is just frustrated at not being able to help their kids with their homework, I'm sure you have plenty of students who are like that. They don't have the education or skills needed to help their children with, for example, algebra. When the kid sees that the parent is more frustrated or they don't understand it, well, the kid loves their parent. The kid looks up to their parent, and so they think, well, if my parent thinks this is stupid, I do too. And so family literacy programs can help change that attitude, change that that habit, if you will. So at this point, I wanted to just open the discussion to everybody else who's listening. If somebody wants to share what their program is doing, type the word me, M-E, in the chat box, and Emily will invite you to share your audio and video, and we can just hear what everybody's doing, and hopefully somebody will volunteer for that.
I do have someone who's requested to share their video. Hank, did you want to share some of your experiences with family literacy? He said he would prefer to type, if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead and type it, and then Emily can read it. No problem.
And then if anyone else would like to hop on to ask, right above the presentation box, there should be a blue button that says ask to share audio and video. If you just click on that, that'll let us know that you're interested in speaking. Okay, so Hank says, we are really struggling with opportunities to engage families in our programs.
Okay, Hank, which program are you from? Where in the state are you?
ENMU Ruidoso.
Ruidoso. I got to tell you, and hopefully you know this, I've been working with Monica Gonzalez, if you know who that is from your program, who has paid my other nonprofit, and I'm going to talk more about it in a minute, but Challenge Island is being offered to your program right now on Saturdays from 1 to 2. And so if you're having issues getting your students to participate in that, because we have had quite a bit of hardship trying to get ENMU Ruidoso students to participate, I would really, really like to talk to you about what we can do to increase that participation. So I'm going to put my email up here in a little bit. Please, please, please send me an email. I want to chat with you on that.
And Jamie, while you were responding to that, Monica is here.
She's Hi, Monica.
In caps, me.
And okay, yay! Let's hear from you, Monica.
Monica, if you want to jump on the call, if you click the ask to share audio and video button, you can hop on and ask your question. There she is. She also says hi in the chat.
Am I there? Okay. Hi.
Hi, Monica. Good to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you too. Yeah, we've been struggling with promoting our plan. Is what the situation is. I advertise it every week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do it through Facebook. We do it through student email. Before we only had it for adult education. Now we've opened it up to the school, and
Mm-hmm.
we're just having a really hard time promoting that. And I don't know what to do on that.
I wonder if your teachers have just flat out asked the students, are you getting the emails? Are you looking at Facebook? If you have heard of it, what's keeping you? What's stopping you? Because it could be something that's kind of on a bigger level, like that day and time doesn't work for me, or it could be something kind of small, like, well, I don't have all the materials, and so I don't want to participate without having all the materials, because that's easily solved, even to the point of, like, I can send you guys just some common materials that they can use if they can pick it up, or I can give them more suggestions on what to substitute for that.
Okay.
So, I think that might want to be our next step, is asking the students directly, okay, have you heard of it? Because if the answer is no, okay, why aren't you checking your emails? Why aren't you checking your Facebook? If you have heard of it, what's stopping you? Because that will really give us, the key. What do we need to do to change that? Because I am totally willing to make this work. Whatever we need to do to make this work, I will do it.
Definitely. So I will try and change my strategy on that and get more people involved by asking why.
Yeah.
And I've even taken that from my Facebook account and sent it through Messenger to the students I know that have families and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
just So I'll promote it more that way.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, we've sent it out again, so we're waiting. Hopefully, something will be great this weekend.
Yes, fingers crossed. I
Yes,
look forward
definitely.
to it.
Okay. Do I stay on here?
You can, if you hit the leave button, I know that
Okay.
sounds really weird, but if you hit the leave button, it'll keep you in. You just won't have the audio and video shared.
Okay. Well, it was nice seeing you, and
It was nice
I'm
seeing you
excited about this
too.
presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great hearing from you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have another speaker in line, and so I'm going to let Gail on. While she is loading, we have a few comments. Jody wrote, we have a great program at Southwestern Indian Polytechnic Institute, SIPI, that she is not a part of because I am in the liberal arts department, but I just want to say thank you for sharing this information. As a parent and a community member, I can see the impact of exactly what you are saying. And then Miguel said, I agree with the family literacy program.
Excellent.
Looks like Gail got on.
Hi, Gail.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. Emily, I was in that last Zoom with you, but nobody could see me or hear me. I don't know why, but I was in there. Anyway, family literacy. At San Juan College, the ACE program, we're just starting up a family literacy program, and we're with ARC. So we have cohorts, and I am new to this, and I definitely believe in this the more research that I do. But I know that implementing something practically is different from that ideal that you research. And any kind of input from other people who have experience, I'm interested in getting. And I was very excited to see, they have a family literacy piece here at the Teachers Institute. So because I'm a neophyte, there's not a lot I have to say, but thank you.
Thank you, Gail. And I'm really excited to start working with San Juan College and with the Literacy Arc. The program, Challenge Island, what I've been talking about with Hank and Monica, and what I'm going to show to you guys on the next slide is what you guys, for San Juan, what your students will have access to as well. So it's very exciting to start that partnership with the Literacy Arc. And thank you for sharing.
I guess I should leave the meeting right now.
Yes, you can leave the sharing. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
if anyone else would like to hop on, go ahead and type me or just request to share. While that is going on, Jody wrote, many of my students are parents and they have stated that their children seeing them earn degrees is important and the kids feel good about seeing their parents succeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We see that every year in our graduation ceremonies, how proud these families are, how proud the children are to see their parents walk across the stage and get their certificates. It's very inspiring to see that. And for any family that is tight knit, for any culture like ours that has just these tight knit family groups that span multiple generations, it's so easy to see how education from the parent influences the child. And sometimes vice versa. When some parents see their children graduate high school and they didn't, they are inspired to come back and get their high school equivalency. And that's great to see too.
Okay, I think that's interesting how family literacy can be multi-generational too, because we've had students who enroll with their parents where, one student is in their 20s, the parent is maybe in their 40s or 50s, and then, we're doing activities with their children as well. And so it can build with the whole family.
Absolutely. I had one grandmother and grandson pair one year that joined together, and that was a really interesting dynamic to see, especially because the grandmother was in her late 60s or early 70s, and she became kind of like the classroom grandma. She brought food all the time, took care of everybody. But that brings up another good point is for these family literacy activities, it can also be the grandparents that work with the grandkids. It doesn't have to necessarily be the parents. A couple of weeks ago, I did an activity with some grandparents and their two grandsons, and it was fabulous what they were doing together.
That's awesome. So we are not getting any more comments or requests to share. If you want to move to your next
Sure.
we have about 15 minutes left.
So it looks like we might be ending early unless, we get some more questions here at the end. But I did want to offer up an option to everybody. So I've obviously been alluding to it this whole time. But I run my own nonprofit called Challenge Island, and it is a STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, math, educational enrichment program that works through Zoom right now. It was originally built to be offered in person to, at first, K through 8 aged kids, so around 5 to 12, but it's been expanded. It's a national franchise. I am the only nonprofit owner of this franchise. And what we do is we have these activities that kind of follow the same format, but they have different themes. And so you have the educational component, and they're given some information, some background, maybe a story, or they're told about a piece of literature. And we go over that educational piece for a few minutes, and they're given some kind of a math or a science connection that goes with it, sometimes an art connection that goes with it. And then they're given about 30 minutes to build something, whether it is a golf course or a tower or a bridge. They're given certain materials to work with. And in the case of these virtual activities, they just gather these household materials themselves. And the only rule is that it has to function in the way that it was intended. So if it's a tower, it needs to be tall, it needs to hold weight, so it needs to be strong. For a bridge, it needs to be able to hold weight. For a golf course, you have to be able to get the ball from the beginning to the end somehow, and you have obstacles and things like that. But they are given all the creativity, all the free reign to build this thing, this project, however they want to build it, and they work together as a family unit. The children are able to contribute however they can, no matter how old they are. I had one family that was just such a joy to work with, and they had 4 kids. And the youngest really wasn't able to help a whole lot. He was probably 3 or 4 years old, and he was very cute in that at the end he wanted to show off what they did, because at the very end of every activity the families share their webcams, and we try to share their webcams the whole time, but they share their webcams so that they can show what they made and they can demonstrate it so we can watch it working. And they're able to, in the chat, give each other feedback or encouragement, say great job, all that. And this is just a 1-hour activity. It's a 1-hour activity. It doesn't take up a whole lot of time. What's really great is because this is a family literacy activity and it is an educational activity, even though they're having fun and playing together, they're still learning. This counts as instructional time. So these students can count that time as instructional hours. And I did put in a formal request through the state. The state approved it. Your program can use state funding for this. So if this seems interesting to you, if you think that your program might like to offer this, you can talk to your director and they can contact me and I can give them more information. I will give you, or you can contact me directly. Either way, it's fine. I can contact your director as well. I'm going to put up my email so you can just send me an email and say, hey, I think this would be great for our program. Gail, that literacy arc grant that we have, that's paying for this for your program. So your students, I'm actually doing my first activity for the literacy arc today at 1. So, I may not get anybody this first time around, and that's fine. I'll be doing it on Fridays at 1 unless we need to change our time. So I am definitely willing to work with programs to see what days and times work for you all, whether it's mornings, afternoons, evenings, weekends, it doesn't matter. We can figure that out. And these activities, again, are just really super fun. I have a whole lot of fun with Zoom. I have a virtual background that matches the theme of what we're talking about. I have music that matches, so I play music while they're building, and I get to watch them build, and it's super, super fun. And that's one thing I really love about Challenge Island, is it's so fun and educational at the same time. So if your program is just really not offering anything and you're interested, please let me know, and I would love to get this out to you. So I will open it up for questions because it looks like we have, gosh, are we running? No, we have 10 minutes, don't we, Emily? I think it's 4. Yeah, we have 10 minutes. We still have some time. So just wanted to remind everybody that we are on Facebook Workplace. If you go to my.workplace.com and you can enter with your NMDELT email account, you can join the teachers group. You're already in there. It's a great place for teachers to ask questions and share ideas. Emily does these fabulous TikTok videos that she puts on there. So it's just a really great way to connect. And if you don't have an NMDELT email account, you can go to the NMDELT website, and that's www.nmdelt.org, and just hit request an email. It's a simple Google form. Once you get that email, you will have access to state purchased licenses for Nearpod and Screencast-O-Matic. You will also be on the teachers listserv that will give you information about upcoming trainings. The distance learning support team does webinars multiple times a month, so you will have access to all of that. Also, if you have not yet filled out the professional development survey, please do so. It's a bit of a longer survey. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete, but it gives us a really good idea of what instructors need for professional development. So Tina had sent out an email a few times. If you haven't received it, your director has received that email. Please make sure to fill out that survey. It's really important that we get that information. Also, the Motivational Coaching for Adult Education course does start this coming Monday, the 21st. If you are still interested in registering, they are accepting folks throughout today. So you can go to the Google site listed at the bottom and you can register for that. And finally, and Emily will put this in the chat, please fill out our evaluation survey. You may have already gotten this link or a tiny URL. It takes you to the same survey. It just lets us know how we did with these sessions. It helps us to improve our professional development. And this one is a much more brief survey. So please fill that out for every session you attend. And here's my email in case you would like to reach me if you think of any questions after the fact. I am happy to answer them for you. Just email me at jamie@nmdelt.org. And if there are any questions that have come in the chat,
Do not have any questions, but to echo what Jamie said, Monica said the activities are really fun.
yes.
And Hank did say one quick one, so we'll give him a second to type his question.
Perfect.
And while Hank is typing, if you miss any of the links that Jamie mentioned, they are all listed in the chat to the right.
Perfect. Thank you, Emily.
Hank, I'm not going to read your first sentence there. We're all a little ignorant. It's fine. There's something all of us don't know. But he asked, how do we document the services provided from family literacy?
So what I have been doing for other programs is I have provided them with an attendance sheet for people who attend so that they know who is there. And then we do have these, they're called parent take-home sheets, but for family literacy, they would just be take-home sheets. It explains what each activity does and what was learned in each activity. So I'm happy to provide those for the activities that your students participate in, just so that you have that documentation. This is what they learned. These were the concepts that they went over.
And then Miguel wrote that he would like information on adult literacy. I don't know.
Miguel, which program are you from? You can type that in the chat if you like.
And then while he is typing, Gail wrote, do you have any examples of activities you can show us or products of activities?
So that's a great question, Gail. And just so everybody knows, because Challenge Island is a franchise, the actual curriculum was made by the corporate entity, and it is intellectual property that belongs to them. So I'm not able to, like, for example, show anything on this screen because it's a recorded screen. And so we're not allowed to record what we do. However, I am incredibly happy to meet with your instructors, Gail. All of you guys, we can do a Zoom or a Google Meet, and I can run through, kind of do like a little dry run through of one of the activities for you so you can take a look at it. We just can't record it or screenshot anything. So if you guys are just wondering what these look like so you can talk to your students about it, I am happy to do that. Just send me an email. We can schedule, or I can talk to Jennifer or Aaron, and we can schedule a time just to meet with your instructors to do that.
Perfect. And then we did hear back from Miguel. He is working with corrections.
Corrections. Okay. So for the adult literacy, I'm wondering, I might want to ask around for you just to see if there's any way for corrections to be a subcontractor for the literacy grant, because we are going to have some subcontractors. That way you can offer literacy services to your students. You know, the family literacy wouldn't work, but there are obviously literacy services that you can provide to corrections. If you're in the northern region in particular, I think that we can look at that subcontract. And if you're not, send me an email, Miguel, and I'll see what I can do to help you get those resources.
Perfect. And then Miguel said a workshop would be good in the future. And then he said, thank you. And Gail said, great.
Perfect. Yes. So hopefully I've left my email up long enough for everybody to catch it. Please, please, please email me. I'm happy to talk to you about whether it's literacy or family literacy, any of that. I can, and if I don't have an answer for you, I can definitely help look. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Perfect.
Let me go back over here. And looks like we have about 4 more minutes before we go back to the stage. So you guys are welcome to hop off if you want to, or if anybody has any other questions, you can either request to share your audio and video, or you can put it in the chat. I'll hang out. Thank you so much, Emily, for your help. Much appreciated. Oh, looks like Hank requested to share and took it away.
Oh, I accepted it.
Accepted. Hi, Hank.
How's it going? Just
Good.
a quick question. I was trying to clarify on what was going on with the documentation. I know Monica's been working with you. I apologize for appearance. I didn't expect to be on video this morning.
I'm a presenter. I have to do all this, you know.
Let's do my hair. So when we're looking, of course, when we're doing like, ABE, ASE things, it's easy to document that in LACES. So what I was trying to figure out is how in the world, I'm excited. We want to do some stuff with adult literacy, and we saw Challenge Island was really cool. But like, where does it go? How do we document it? Monica, okay, go ahead. You know what I mean?
We're talking about LACES. Okay. So what you can do in LACES is create a class that's called Family Literacy. Okay. So you create that class, and then depending on how you do it, like for my program for Albuquerque Adult Learning Center, we put the number of hours on a particular day. So some programs just do like for a full week, they do the number of hours per week. We do the number of hours per day. So if it's on a Saturday for 1 hour, they participated, they get that 1 hour of credit. You just put that in there in LACES. Saturday, 1 hour.
And is there any kind of, like the 40 hours prior to TABE, things like that? Is there a set amount of hours that we need to have before we can get some sort of credit for doing it?
I think, and this mixes with their other classes, right?
Okay.
So it's
an umbrella. I got it.
They do have to have 12 hours before they're considered fundable. So
okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Well, Monica's, I don't know if she's still on here, but she's pretty awesome. She does some big stuff with early childhood education. So I think it's a great mix for her. So I'll get off. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you, Hank. Have a good one. All right. Thank you all so much. I see the thank yous. Thank you all for attending.
No questions, but lots of gratitude.
Yes.